I'm Vegas Runner, here to cover some more MMA. We're going over the Season 13 Tough Finale. Just did two videos previously where we went over the Clay Guida and Pettis fight, and we also covered the two semifinalists. But this one is the Tough Finale. We're coming off a successful UFC 130 where we went 3-1 on our premium plays. All were on video. We went 3-0 on UFC 129. All were on video. And that makes us 6-1 in UFC, 9-1 in MMA overall. So the more we're getting into it, the more contacts we're making, the more doors that are opening and information coming in, the more solid I think our projections will be, the more value we'll be able to uncover. Remember, I'm a big fan of boxing. I'm a big fan in MMA. But unless I think there's value, I'm really not going to step up and bet a fight. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy it as a fan. I bet for value and nothing more. I don't get off on action. I bet for money. So if I'm going to step up and do a video where I'm passing along a recommendation on a bet that I made, rest assured I made that bet and I'm backing my opinion with money. In this one, unfortunately, we don't have a line out yet. Checked offshore, checked here in Vegas, talked with locals, just not a line yet on this fight. My projection, I think Ferguson's going to be the favorite just based on how they looked in the semifinal fights. But I don't think he's going to be that heavy of a favorite because let's not forget, he has become the hated fighter. And perception is what lines are based on when they're going to be bet in by the public. Let's not forget, bottom line is this. When odds makers cater their lines towards wise guys, and that's for sports and events that are more low-key, Central Michigan versus Western Michigan in college basketball, that line's going to be catered more towards the wise guy. But when you have marquee matchups, when you have high-profile matchups, those lines are more catered towards the recreational bettor. Because of that, the odds makers know to sprinkle in public perception more than true intrinsic value. And that's when sharp bettors can step up and really take advantage of that perception. We just saw that with the NBA Finals. Miami Heat have all of a sudden become the hated team. People don't want to see King James win his ring. They don't want to see the big three win the championship. So they've fallen in love with the Mavericks. And we saw in Game 1 and we saw in the series price that it was reflective of that public money that came in on Dallas. I think that's going to happen in this one. After what happened 2 weeks ago, when Ferguson got drunk and the whole house turned against him, a lot of fans have a dislike for him now and want to see him lose. And I think that's going to be reflected in the line. And because of that, he shouldn't come out as too high of a favorite. At least not as high as I think he should be. So I think I'm more or less giving away which side I'm going. Coming into this tough season, after a couple weeks, I really pegged Ramsey as the winner. I sent it out on Twitter. I wasn't shy about that. But again, this is money, and I bet to make money. And because of that, I'm going to back my opinion where I think the value is. And I just don't think in this fight the value is with Ramsey. And I'm definitely changing my opinion, and I do not think he's going to win this season of Tough. Bottom line, not just that Ferguson looked great in dismantling and taking apart O'Neal. He's just a more seasoned fighter. He's got 12 professional fights compared to 5 from Ramsey. He's the more technical striker. That's number one, and there's no contest there. If you saw the semifinals, Ramsey's striking was just so sloppy, and there wasn't much power behind his punches. For a wrestler, he was a wrestler, Division I wrestler, he had a lot of trouble taking Cope down and didn't even take him down once. But if he takes that approach, let's not forget, Tony Ferguson is a national champion wrestler. He's a 2-time All-American. So he's definitely not going to be at any disadvantage if this becomes a grappling match. looking at his fights, at his 10 wins, 6 of those wins came via knockout, 3 came by submission, 1 was by a decision. So he definitely likes to end them early. What does that tell me? He has good boxing. And if he gets you down, he does have the ability to submit you as well. I just think Ferguson is the more well-rounded fighter as we stand going into this one. Years down the road, I hope Ramsey becomes an elite fighter. He's just got one of those personalities you love. He's got heart, and he's very, talented. Let's not take anything away from him. But the bottom line is, I think Ferguson is just at a higher level right now. He's the more elite fighter. He trains out of the Knucklehead Boxing Gym, so the kid knows how to throw, and that was evident in all his fights. More importantly, before beating O'Neal the way he did, he knocked out Justin Edwards. He knocked out Ryan McGilvery. Both these guys are ground fighters. Edwards actually trains with George Gurgel, who we all know is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu specialist and trains a lot of top MMA guys. So he had no problem with these guys, and they weren't willing to take him down if they could even do so with his strong wrestling background. So I really think wherever this fight goes, Ferguson has the advantage. It's the only way I could possibly look in this one. As much as a fan and my heart, I'd like to see Ramsey win this one. My wallet just won't permit me to back him. And talking to our producer Dustin before this, he had the exact same things to say. We want to see Ramsey win, but wanting to see something and what you think's going to happen are just two totally different things. And we both agree that Ferguson just is the better fighter at this time right now. So my recommendation, and actually my wager, will be on Tony Ferguson. I think we're going to get the value where that line's going to go. I'd be willing to lay again, and this is not an overstatement. I'd be willing to lay almost as high as 200 on him. I think he's just that much better. I think he's more powerful. He just hits harder. His striking is so much better. Again, he's a 2-time All-American wrestler. This kid is just made to be a UFC fighter. He's just cut from that cloth. And when you look at him, he just walks around with that confidence. He puts that suit on for every fight. I love that. He takes it so professionally, and he just believes. And there's nothing more powerful than confidence in a fighter. And this kid has already seen himself winning this tough competition. So his confidence level is at an all-time high, and he's just shown me he could get it done regardless. He can knock you out. He can systematically break you down and take your will. His striking's better. His wrestling background we've already covered. And he's just the stronger, tougher guy. It's the only way I could look. Stripper Ramsey, I apologize. I wish you nothing but the best. I want to see you in future fights. But come Saturday night, brother, I just don't think you're going to be able to get it done. Not against this guy. I was hoping you'd be fighting somebody else so I could back you and have that tough prediction come to fruition, but that's just not going to happen. So let's go ahead. Let's back Tony Ferguson to win the TUF Season 13 and have a lot of success in the future in the UFC. I'm Vegas Runner. That's the finale. Don't forget, we got 2 other videos that we covered. That's 3 picks in all as we look to have another winning night in the UFC and MMA overall. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget, follow me on Twitter. That's @VegasRunner for updates, predictions, free picks, and information each and every day.